This is an emergency meeting. You heard that right, everybody? This is an emergency. Not an emergency meeting to fix the border, but an emergency meeting to bash Kamala Harris. That's the emergency. Are you kidding me?
Jim McGovern goes in. This is good to watch. It's satisfying.
The emergency is that Donald Trump is losing and they're in a panic. And he's so unpopular that they need a meaningless resolution to try to prop him up. Now, I get why he's unpopular. Maybe they should call on him to step aside, considering how rambling and unfocused and boring he's become. He's the oldest presidential nominee in history. And I'm hearing from a lot of people he should step down.
This is coming after like a week after he got shot and survived. Do you remember all of us after Trump got shot and survived? I don't want him to die from getting assassinated. I want him to get beaten at the polls, for the record. But that being said, I mean, I actually forgot that he was shot. Like, someone reminded me. I was like, all right, yeah, that's how much I care. So anyway, like, he's that weak of a candidate. When you have a real candidate running against him, suddenly you get to see that, like, he's very weak. Like, when you run someone that can speak sentences and it doesn't sound like they're like trying to breathe underwater, suddenly, like, this is a different landscape, right? When you have someone that can just go and you read him for filth, and everything, and someone that you can actually go and campaign, you're realizing, oh wow, like, he actually kind of looks kind of embarrassing right now. Like, his rallies look silly. I mean, not that we didn't all see that before, but, whew. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, Biden. Thanks, Biden.
He was really sweet to me. He said to Speaker Johnson, he goes, okay, you got one more seat. You need to be tougher. He saw me. I was sitting back a little ways. He saw me in there and he was like, hello, Marjorie. He's always so sweet and recognizes me.
And you know what Trump meetings are like. He's electric. He's got an incredible fastball. And I think that was just exciting after all he'd been through, how strong this man is. I've never seen someone be able to take all the heat that he's taken and come in there ready to lead. It took him about 2 minutes. I thought of you when he said this. Drill, baby, drill.
Yes.
Yes.
He said very complimentary things about all of us. We had sustained applause. He said, I'm doing a very good job.
Wow. In a week, it's like a few days, not even a week, like a few days, like, Trump is like lagging to the point that the Republicans are like, like, a few days. And I mean, listen, I have been the last few months just sort of resigning myself to being like how screwed am I? Like, I kept thinking, as a creator, I'm gonna do well as a creator, but I don't want to do well at like the expense of everything like this. Like, I don't want this. I don't want to talk about Trump. Like, I want to go after neoliberals. Like, I don't want to think I like spending my time going after just MAGA. Like, come on, bro. And then, and in a few days, they're like panicked. JD Vance not doing well, polling terribly, shockingly low. Which is, I mean, it's funny, like, when I spoke to people at the RNC, as the announcement was happening that JD Vance was like popping, they hadn't had time to think about it and think, so I got their very candid reactions, and he sort of wasn't, they were like, and there's a lot of Republicans, I got to tell them the news. So satisfying. And it'd be like, what do you think about him calling Trump America's Hitler and stuff? And they didn't have a talking point for it yet. So, like, I got to see their genuine reaction to them being like, there's videos of this you can look up on my channels and stuff. And, their reaction was just like, what? He said, what? How dare he, right? Like, and then, give it a few days, they're like, well, listen, initially I was very skeptical of Trump myself. Originally it was a Ted Cruz fan here. They didn't have so I got to see their candid reaction. And, that's at the RNC. The regular public that is MAGA, generally it's like J.D. Vance, like, okay, like, sure, hillbilly elegy, sure. He's not as, he's beloved in core circle. Why am I defending him? He's Peter Thiel's guy. Like, Peter Thiel picks people that, are loyal to him. All right. Peter Thiel picked Blake Masters and dumped like tons of money into his campaign, and it was a disaster. He picked J.D. Vance and, got him to win by dumping just an obscene amount of money into that campaign. The Democrats had to match this campaign, and to their own detriment of, other districts that were failing.
All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough. I've tried to be helpful.
We were really trying hard to figure out how do we hold a president accountable that put all of our lives at risk.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. No question about it.
So I've spoken to tons of Republicans that used to dislike Trump, and they have explained to me why they used to dislike Trump. And listen, it's fun to look at these montages of people that were really against Trump for very legitimate reasons and look at them and say, you were at one point right. Like J.D. Vance, his first instinctual read as America's Hitler, I was like, bro, you're cooking right now. What are you doing? Right? However, what was explained to me was, there was hesitation as to whether or not he would, support their positions. They looked at him as someone trying to just buy their own way into the presidency, and they had a hesitation, a healthy hesitation about that. We would look at that the same way. If a billionaire came along to the Democratic Party and, bought their way through the nomination, bought all the delegates, you know what I mean? He didn't buy off the delegates, and Republican, Democrats, different nomination process. I digress. But, if a Democrat did that and then they turned around and said, hey, by the way, billionaires should pay their fair share, and, started talking Bernie, we'd all be like, damn, you know what? I did say nasty things about him, but okay, I'm on board, bro. Right? If someone started talking reparations, Bernie, and socialized medicine, I'd be like, damn it, I should talk to you, but my bad. So I get that part of it, but it's so much fun to tell Republicans, what do you think of J.D. Vance calling Trump America's Hitler? As I said before, I made videos about this, and they're on my channels, and the reactions are so satisfying. I got to be there for it, and that part of history, I was just whew, it was really good. It was amazing, actually. So, but yeah, America's Hitler, Donald Trump.
My advice to the Democrat Party would be total surrender. Save yourself millions of dollars, do the right thing for the country, sit this presidential election cycle out. The American people are very clear about who they want, and your own voter base is very clear about who they want as well, and who they want is President Donald J. Trump back in the White House.
Yeah, pretty sure that's not going to happen.
That video aged so poorly. It aged like, potato salad or something. It didn't age like fine wine. It aged like, egg salad, potato salad. There's something the potato salad, I've never, egg salad, right? Yeah, egg salad. I'm sorry. This is a cooking show now. But how much things have changed so quickly. The landscape has just shifted in days, almost hours, right? That video is laughable at this point. You have people on fire, ready to hit the streets and raise funds, stand, knock on doors in ways that they were, I mean, no one was inspired to do this for Joe Biden. We all knew he was going to lose. We were like, I mean, it had been talked about how he was trailing 10 points behind Trump in states that had Democrat governors and Democrat legislators. I mean, he was doing poorly in New York State, okay? New York State. I mean, this is like a D plus, 50 state. It is insane that he was polling that low here. So when I heard that news, I was like, oh my God, like New York State? What the fresh hell, bro? Woo! So yeah, that is a very poorly aged statement, and I'm looking forward to playing that when Kamala gets elected. At this point, though, like, I mean, there's oomph in this campaign. It got real interesting, real fast, like overnight.
So what is that?
That's best president of the United States.
All right, that's Donald Trump with his mugshot, right? It says never surrender.
Never surrender.
Okay, that is a picture of him surrendering to Georgia authorities, though, right?
Fair. He's the best president of America.
Okay, but that literally is a picture of him surrendering, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
By every metric, Trump was not a good president. And I talk to MAGA a lot, and it really wears me down when I have this like very straightforward conversation and just go over like what are the metrics, right? Jobs created, jobs added, excluding COVID. So if you just take out COVID and and put that in and jobs added, it's not that much. And if you take the jobs that tons of jobs, the employment went skyrocketed under COVID, right? So if you start Biden to where all those jobs that were taken away under COVID came back, right? And you start the metric there. So this has been done online and stuff. Just do Trump's job creation right up until COVID, and then do Biden's job creation after he regained all those numbers. It's still better. Better investment into historically black HBCUs, better investment in climate, infrastructure, just like across the board. I mean, if you stand the military, you stand veterans. There's the PACT Act. If you're like, oh, let's be scared about China, there's the CHIPS Act. There's like policy on top of policy that was like, it's like very good for America, very good for American manufacturing, very good for veterans, very good for consumers, historically black colleges. Like the list goes on and on. I mean, if you like oil, do you like oil? Great. Biden also did that too. We're drilling too much, in my own opinion. But hey, so the thing is, you ask MAGA about like who's the greatest president, all they will tell you, and I don't ask this anymore because it's such a tired answer. They can't explain why. It's just like, well, we were making money back then. We were all doing well back then. Why? Couldn't tell you. They'll say something that's very sort of general, like, well, he removed regulations on businesses. Not really true. It's not like everyone was doing well, but he inherited a great economy from Obama. And the next president will inherit an amazing economy from Biden. Amazing. If Trump is elected, we will have to suffer through all of these years of like him blaming, giving himself credit for like what's popping, right? He'll inherit another amazing economy. So, yeah. But yeah, everyone's, Trump was the greatest president. Trump was the greatest president. But they can't tell you why. And, what's Trump going to do in his presidency? Like, what's what's the plan for, policy-wise and everything. It's the plan is drill, baby, drill, immigrants and trans people, like immigrants and trans people, like, and we're not drilling enough, which is factually incorrect. We're drilling more than we've ever drilled, ever. So, but all of this relates to policy in terms of like, how are we going to create more jobs? We'll drill more and, get the immigrants to stop taking our jobs. What about education? What about this? It's all, immigrants, trans people, and, more oil is needed. That's the entire policy. That's it, pretty much. That's how they're going to solve everything. It's just immigrants, trans people, and oil. That's the only policy. That's the only reason they could tell us as to why, things were supposedly better under Trump. I mean, factually, like, we didn't have COVID. We weren't dealing with COVID, in the first 3 years of Trump's presidency. So, touche. I am really looking forward to the Republicans actually having to deal with the consequences of backing Trump. I mean, it's been a weird duality where he's been bad for the party, bad for their image, and they've all had to sort of distance themselves from him. However, if you want to win your primary, you want to win your campaign, you need him to stand you and get the people riled up. Like, you need him to visit your district. You need either him or Don Jr. or Eric, to pop up in that district and be like, yo, like, my daddy, like, he's about this person right here. It's weird duality. But now it's not going to be much of a duality anymore. Like, it's just all liability at this point. And I'm really looking forward to seeing, the rats jump ship, pretty much, as they realize that he's not going to give them the numbers. That wasn't true a few years ago. I mean, listen, if you talked bad about Trump, I mean, people left you. Fox News learns this lesson. All they did was just say Biden won the election, and millions of their viewers left for Newsmax and OAN. The only reason Newsmax and OAN has anything right now is because they lost, like, just this fraction. No, not fraction. They lost. There's a lot of viewership, that just literally jumped. And Fox News had to whip around and say, oh, yeah, no, the election, yes, the election, it was totally stolen, so they could get those viewers back. So, I'm looking, it hasn't really settled yet. The leadership is like, this is not okay anymore. It's, which is, no shit. But it hasn't, like, settled down here where, like, the rest of America is realizing, like, this is not good for us. But leadership is, like, going through it right now. And God damn it, like, how fast, like, you would have had this conversation with them a week ago, 2 weeks ago. They've been like, we got this, bro. Like, we in this, right? Like this is gonna, like, they're just, taking measurements of the White House, being like, and I mean, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, they were set to take back the White House, Senate, and gain more House seats. I mean, that was just it was gonna be a blowout. Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was like bracing myself for impact because I was like, God damn it, like, why can't they get it together? So, that's a massive 180. I would actually love to see them take Trump out of the race and replace him with someone. That'd be fun. Replace him with Bernie. Right? Like, Bernie's, he's a populist appeal. Like, he resonates with a lot of people. Let's make this election really interesting. MAGA needs to dump Trump, replace him with Bernie Sanders, and then the rest of us could be like, damn it. Huh. Like, that'd be a quandary at the polls. Imagine that you're like, at the polls, like, okay, I could elect Bernie, but it's Bernie as it's a Republican, but it's still Bernie, and but Kamala, I mean, damn it, like, yeah, Republicans, come on, just, you can make this way more interesting, like, make it like interesting.